I mean, is there another book? I asked that question. Is there another book in the future?
They've already been talking to me about wanting to write another one, but in a way, I don't know what else I have to say right now. You know, like I said, they want to capitalize on, the Trump thing, and you write another. Well, it's like I kind of said all I have to say about that.
Big book. Yeah.
I wouldn't be opposed to writing another book if I had the right concept and something that I felt strongly about, but I don't have that concept right now.
Gotcha. Talking about your book, how'd that book deal come about? How did somebody come to you and say, "Hey, I'll pay you this much money if you write a book"? I mean, like, was it just like that deal, or was it like, "Hey, I'm going to write a book"?
Well, when I left, I started thinking about what I wanted to do next, and I did think that I had some really interesting stories, but also just every book that had been written about the Trump White House was either a hit job that I know for a fact were they're full of things that were not true, or kind of a sycophantic portrayal of it's the greatest thing of all time, or it was a journalist book where they're relying on secondhand sources.
Yeah.
I felt like that there was a really need at this point in history for someone who is willing to just shoot straight and say, I was there, this is my firsthand experience, here's the good, bad, and otherwise, everything in between, including about myself.
Yeah.
And so I felt like I was uniquely positioned to write that book. And so just through mutual friends, got connected to these book agents, a company called Javelin, who represent a lot of big authors across the political spectrum, and sat down with them and started telling them what I was thinking and telling them some of my stories and what I wanted to write. They got really excited about it. And actually, the book proposal that went to the publisher, I was very concerned at this time. I didn't want it to get out that I was thinking about writing a book.
Yeah.
And so they stripped all the identifying details out of the proposal. It was an anonymous proposal that they put in front of a publisher and said, we're going to either take this out to auction, or you have an option to. We took it to you first. We thought you were the perfect fit if you want. And they offered a 7-figure deal by the end of the day.
That's
and
awesome.
So that was how that came together. It's kind of crazy.
Now, so do you view yourself as an author? I mean, is there another book? I asked that question. Is there another book in the future?
They've already been talking to me about wanting to write another one, but in a way, I don't know what else I have to say right now. You know, like I said, they want to capitalize on, the Trump thing, and you write another. Well, it's like I kind of said all I have to say about that.
Big book. Yeah.
I wouldn't be opposed to writing another book if I had the right concept and something that I felt strongly about, but I don't have that concept right now.
Gotcha. At the White House, leave the White House, write the book. Telegraph. Tell us about how that came about and how that's going, and just give me some insight on that.
So I came out of the White House. I had a lot of different opportunities that I could have jumped on, and I ran communications for some pretty large projects like tax reform bill, the largest tax cut in American history. So these financial services firms and others who were offering me jobs, whether it's in D.C. or New York or whatever. And I wanted to get back home. I wanted to come back to Alabama. The quality of life here, people don't realize how great it is at a fraction of the cost of what it would be in in Manhattan or D.C. And so I knew I wanted to come home, and Kevin McClendon, who is a longtime friend of mine, is the founder of Telegraph. And it started as a branding marketing agency and back in 2011, and we started talking about, yes, would you consider coming and being my partner down here? And so I started looking at what was going on with the company, and I got really excited about it because that entrepreneurial streak kind of kicks back in. I love building stuff. It wasn't a startup. He'd gotten through the startup phase. They had gotten to the point, 4 or 5 million in annual revenue, a great staff, a great team, and there's really an opportunity to take something from 4 or 5 million to 50 million. Right. And so that was going to be a new experience for me, but applying some of the things that I'd learned in the network that I'd built to being able to do that. And so I decided to jump in and do it. That's great. The first thing you think of is the team is the most important thing. The people are the most important thing. And so they had a great team. And so the first thing I did was, our first thing we did was now we got a guy like BJ, who had done such a great job at Yellowhammer as a business development and the CEO to come in and run business development for Telegraph. And there have been a few other kind of key personnel things that we have done. And we just landed our first 7-figure deal since I got there, and it only took a few months, so that was good. And so we feel like we're well on our way and trying to grow.
That's awesome.